They fired me in front of 400 people. No warning, no meeting, just lights, stage, and the slick bastard CEO, Warren Huxley, standing up there pretending this was another feel-good alignment summit. It was the third hour of the company's annual strategy summit in Scottsdale. We'd already sat through a cringe corporate band, 3 icebreakers, and 2 breakthrough speeches. Then it shifted to the Q&A. I stood up. "Where's the compliance audit from Q3 last year? It's missing from the deck," I said, loud enough to cut through the polite fake laugh buzz in the room. Warren froze, not even for half a second. Long enough to register, not long enough to process. Then he smiled, cold. He leaned into the mic. "Thank you, Daniel. That'll be all," he said, like I was some intern who tripped over a cable. I blinked. "I just meant the audit from Q3? You're done here," he said. I thought he was joking. He wasn't. He kept going. "Effective immediately, Daniel Reese is no longer employed with Halvex." Just like that. To the whole ballroom. No HR rep, no explanation. Just me, the mic, and his voice killing my career in real time. Silence dropped like a damn anchor. Nobody moved, not my boss, Darren, who I knew for 8 years. Not the VPs I'd pulled all-nighters for. Not even the junior analysts I trained from scratch. They just stared forward. Corporate jazz played softly in the background, like a cruel punchline. I didn't say a word. Didn't ask why. I just stood there. Then I reached for the yellow folder I'd been holding all morning. Notes, prep, handouts, stuff I thought mattered. It felt like a joke now, like carrying a menu out of a restaurant that kicked you out. I walked out slow, past the fake plants, the buffet table, the little chocolate truffles lined up like they were waiting to be judged on Food Network. People shifted their eyes, but no one spoke. Not a single, "Hey, wait," or "That's not right." My chest felt tight but hollow, like someone yanked a cord out of my brain and left the lights on with no power behind them. I didn't cry, didn't scream, just walked, step by step, straight out the double doors. Quick note, before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. The desert air hit hard, dry and hot, like it wanted to burn the whole fake setup to the ground. And behind me, the doors clicked shut like a coffin lid. I didn't even make it 10 steps past the valet stand before I heard footsteps behind me. Expensive ones, solid heel clicks, slow and deliberate. Not a jog or a stumble. Someone choosing to follow me. I turned. Victor Maris. That name didn't just carry weight. It snapped necks when whispered. He was one of the board's top dogs. Billionaire investor. Ghost-level presence. Nobody below CFO ever got close enough to breathe the same air, let alone talk to him. The kind of guy who didn't make conversation. He made people disappear. He stopped a few feet in front of me, hands in his jacket pockets, face unreadable. Gray suit, crisp collar, shirt so white it looked fake. "Repeat your question," he said. Not, "How are you feeling?" Not, "That was rough." Not even a goddamn hello. My mouth was dry. I could still hear the echo of the ballroom doors closing behind me. My fingers tightened on the folder. "The Q3 compliance audit," I said. "From last year. It wasn't in the deck. It wasn't even mentioned." He didn't blink. Just watch me, like he was measuring my pulse through my eyes. I forced myself to keep talking. "I submitted it. Twice. Legal got a copy. Finance too. Then the official copy vanished." My voice cracked a little, but I didn't back down. Victor nodded. "Just once." Then he turned around and walked right back toward the ballroom like I'd never existed. Didn't say thanks, didn't say I was right, didn't even say he'd look into it. Just that quiet nod, like a dealer sliding a card across the table face down. The doors opened for him. He didn't look back. I stood there, still holding the stupid yellow folder like it meant something. He just asked a question, got an answer, and left. Like he got what he came for and didn't owe me anything else. I should have felt humiliated again. But I didn't. I felt something else. Not pride, not even close, but something sharp, something unfinished. Like a switch had been flipped and now the light couldn't be turned off again. A valet looked at me from across the circle driveway, confused. I waved him off and started walking, feet dragging like I was stuck between 2 floors of a building. Not fired, not free, just floating. I pulled my phone from my pocket out of instinct. No missed calls, no texts, notifications still logged into the work Slack. But I knew that wouldn't last. Any second now, they'd hit the kill switch. I look back one last time at the hotel. That giant fake palace lobby with glass chandeliers and motivational posters about bold leadership. The same place that swallowed me and spit me out in under 5 minutes. Victor Maris had walked right through that fire and didn't flinch. And he nodded at me. That nod messed with me more than the firing did. Because now I couldn't tell if I'd been acknowledged or marked. I was halfway across the parking lot when my phone buzzed. Outlook logged me out. Session expired. Weird timing. I opened Slack next. Blank screen. Just the logo spinning. Then VPN. Dead. It didn't feel like a shutdown. It felt like a purge. They weren't just locking me out. They were erasing me, piece by piece, like I never existed. I got in my car and sat there, engine off, AC blasting. My fingers hovered over the screen like maybe, just maybe, it was a glitch. It wasn't. My work profile on the company site, gone. Corporate directory, gone. I texted my desk phone just to see what would happen. Number not in service. That's when it hit. They were erasing me. I drove home without music. Just sat in the silence, hearing my tires hum against the asphalt like they were counting down something I couldn't stop. In the garage, I popped the trunk and grabbed the backup drive. It had dust on it thick enough to write my name in. Old, slow, probably borderline useless. But I plugged it into my laptop anyway. Took 20 minutes to boot. While it loaded, I opened LinkedIn, almost out of habit. Notifications were popping. Most were just profile views. One stood out. A message from someone I didn't know. No profile picture, generic name, 0 connections. Saw what happened. You weren't wrong. Stay smart. Don't trust internal channels. Then it was gone. Profile deleted. Just like that. I stared at the screen. That wasn't paranoia. That was a cleanup job. Somebody inside was trying to warn me before they got flushed too. The backup drive finally loaded. Buried under layers of old training decks and dead-end project folders, I found a buried zip file labeled Q, 3_prelim_audit. I opened it. There it was. Vendor compliance reports, internal email chains, flagged violations. 3 redline drafts of the same report, each one cleaner than the last. Metadata showed it had been scrubbed, rewritten, and sanitized before it disappeared. I clicked through PDFs like I was flipping pages of a murder confession. One file stood out, a memo from Legal to Finance dated August 15th. Subject line, not for distribution. Risk assessment needed. First I sat back in my chair, heart pounding like I'd just run 10 flights of stairs. This wasn't just sloppy accounting, this was deliberate. They didn't lose the audit, they buried it, stripped it, told me it never existed, and fired me the moment I brought it up. I pulled out a notepad and started writing down names, people on the email chains, timestamps, file versions. I wasn't building a case yet. I was proving I wasn't crazy. Then I copied everything to a new drive and locked it in the drawer under my bed. My inbox dinged once more. Not work. Personal Gmail. Another LinkedIn request from a different burner account. No photo, but the same writing style. You're not the only one who saw it. And then nothing. It vanished again within minutes. Someone was watching, someone on the inside. And if they were scrubbing that hard, it meant I had something worth hiding. The call came the next morning. Blocked number. I let it ring once before picking up. Dan. It's me. Nolan. You didn't get this from me. His voice was low, like he was calling from a closet. I sat up in bed. What's going on? They're spinning a story, he said. HR is saying you've been unstable for weeks, like mood swings, erratic behavior, that kind of thing. I swung my legs off the bed, grabbed the notepad from the nightstand. Who said it? They're being careful. It's all secondhand, just enough noise to make it believable. Couple directors said you seemed off during Q2. I laughed, sharp and ugly. That's rich. I pulled 18-hour days cleaning up Darren's mess in Q2. I know you're solid, man, Nolan said, but they're laying it down early, like groundwork. They're even implying, I mean, not directly, but hinting maybe you made the audit up. That stopped me cold. Say that again. They're calling it a phantom report. Said legal never got it. IT said there's no file. Like it was a draft you obsessed over, not a real audit. I pressed the bridge of my nose, trying to breathe. My skin was buzzing. I made 3 copies, I said, before I even sent it. 1 local, 1 encrypted to the server, and 1 on that backup drive. I believe you, he said, but that's not the point. They're writing your version out of history. You're not just gone. You're unreliable now. I opened my laptop and checked the metadata again. Timestamps, emails, comments. They weren't just records, they were insurance. They're not trying to win, I muttered. They're trying to make sure no one listens to me. Exactly. You still on Slack? For now. Start tracking everything. Screenshots, chat logs. I don't care if it's about lunch orders. If my name comes up, I want a record. He paused. You're really doing this. If they want war, they just picked the wrong quiet guy. We hung up. That's when the second message came in. Same weird LinkedIn format. No profile photo. Name was Alex Dunn. Some fake placeholder garbage. We're watching. You're not alone in this same phrasing as the last one. But this time, it didn't vanish. I stared at it for a solid minute. This was coordinated. I didn't know if it was friend or foe, but it was real, and it meant someone else inside saw the game being played. I opened a fresh notebook, labeled the front, timeline, erasure, and retaliation. Started from the day I filed the audit. Every sent file, every Slack message, every forwarded email. I mapped it out like a detective with string and thumbtacks in my head. They wanted to turn me into a ghost, but I had receipts. Old instincts kicked in. I started recording phone calls, used an old iPhone as a mic when I made calls from my regular number, wrote up fake email drafts just to see if they'd trigger anything in my old server logs, left bait. I wasn't paranoid anymore. I was methodical. Fear turned into fuel. I stayed off social, didn't respond to anything public. But behind the scenes, I dug in like a damn data miner. By lunch, I had 16 files flagged as altered after my original submission date, all scrubbed-down versions of the Q3 report. I made another backup, this one password protected and synced to cloud storage across 3 providers under fake accounts. If they came from my hardware, they weren't getting everything. By evening, I had a full breakdown of every time my name popped up in internal comms, courtesy of Nolan feeding me screen caps from his phone under the table. The whispers were growing. Dan was acting off. Didn't seem well. Burned out? They weren't just discrediting me. They were building a case for why people shouldn't ask questions like mine in the future. Let me be the cautionary tale. Only thing was, I wasn't done talking yet. I thought the silence would last a day. Then it stretched to 2. By day 3, it felt like I'd slipped off the edge of the world. No calls, no emails, not even another burner message. Nothing from Nolan, nothing from Victor, especially not Victor. I started to doubt the whole damn thing. Maybe I was just the guy who couldn't let a file go. Maybe they were right. Maybe I looked unstable because I actually was. I sat in the kitchen eating cereal straight from the box, laptop open, staring at the same audit folder for the 100th time. I'd read every file so many times. I knew the typos by heart. Then my phone rang. Unknown number, DC area code. Daniel Reese? The voice asked. Who's asking? This is Caitlin Morrow with the Post Ledger. I'm following up on a statement made at Halvex's internal shareholder prep meeting this morning. I stood up. Say that again? Victor Mares. He mentioned you by name, briefly. Said you raised valid concerns about the Q3 compliance audit. He used the phrase, triggered my decision to call for independent review. My mind went blank for a second. She kept going. He didn't call you a whistleblower directly, but that's what everyone's hearing. That word punched me in the chest. Whistleblower. It didn't feel like something I'd earned. It felt like a label someone else decided fit me better than the truth. I didn't set out to do that, I said quietly. I just asked a question. Sure, she said. But that question may have just sparked a board-level investigation. I rubbed the back of my neck. What else did he say? Not much. He was careful, but it got attention. They're scrambling to get ahead of it. I didn't say anything for a second, just stared at the window like I'd see the company unraveling in real time out on my lawn. "Can I quote you?" she asked. "Not yet," I said, "but you can call me again." After we hung up, I didn't move. Victor hadn't ghosted me. He'd waited, let the air go dead. Let me twist, second guess, prepare, and then drop my name like a lit match in a room full of dry paper. It wasn't a favor, it was strategy. I went back to the kitchen table and opened a blank doc, titled it, Whistleblower Statement, Draft 1. I didn't write a word yet, but now I knew who I was in this story. And it wasn't just some fired guy with a backup drive. I stared at the blank doc, fingers frozen on the keys, when the word popped into my head. Cold Stack 192. No reason, no lead-in, just there, like someone whispered it in my ear. I typed it into the old VPN terminal, still loaded on my laptop. It blinked. Buffering. Then, a login screen I hadn't seen in 5 years. Internal Cold Stack. The old development server. Barely anyone knew it still existed. Half the team thought it got shut down after the last migration, but it was alive, and it was open. The directory was a mess. Folder names like /archived_legal_drafts and /press_kit_alt_versions. No user activity since 2021. Dead space that had been forgotten. Until I walked back in like a ghost. I clicked through one folder at a time. That's when I found them. Hidden drafts. Early versions of the press statements from Q3. Emails between legal and the CFO marked Do Not Forward. Copies of the audit that still showed the red flags, vendor inconsistencies, missing compliance documents, flagged risk scores, all clearly scrubbed from the final version. They hadn't lost the audit. They whitewashed it, reworded it, cut anything that might raise an eyebrow, turned a damage report into a fluff piece and pushed it through comms like nothing happened. And it wasn't just passive. There were jokes. One exec to another. Let's make the fire look like a fireplace. Dress it up and sell cocoa. Another, delete that last line. Don't need legal getting sweaty. This wasn't oversight. This was manipulation. Signed, time-stamped, and stupidly stored where no one thought to look. I didn't stop to breathe. I started pulling. I zipped up every document worth a damn. Every memo, every stripped-down draft, every redlined report that still showed what they tried to bury. I labeled the folder, shareholder_packet/confidential 001. Saved it twice. One on the cloud, one on a separate drive. By 2:39 a.m., my coffee was cold, my eyes burned, and I was staring at an email draft with 42 investor contacts I'd scraped from filings and press releases. No subject line, no signature, just the zipped folder, one line of text. You should see what they've done. I hit send. No second guess, no sleep. Just me, in a dark room, lit by a glowing screen, knowing I had just crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. And for the first time since I stood up in that ballroom, I felt like I was actually holding the match. I didn't sleep, just watched the screen, waiting. By sunrise, Slack lit up like a Christmas tree on fire. Someone dropped a screenshot in the General Ops channel. Why is the cold stack still online? That was it. That was the match. No names, no context. But it spread like blood in a swimming pool. Another message followed, internal, leaked instantly. Who had access to shareholder packet? The cold stack wasn't just online. It was being dissected in real time by people who weren't supposed to know it ever existed. Threads popped up in engineering, compliance, and legal. Dozens of them, fast. Legal was tagged in every post. So was risk management. Still no mention of me, not yet. Then someone finally said it. Looks like a whistleblower situation. Public, plain text, no deleted messages, no euphemisms, just the word laid out like a body on the table. HR jumped in fast, tried to scrub the thread, claimed sensitive topics should be handled privately. Too late. Screenshots already hit outside group chats. I saw one forwarded back to me through a burner email chain, subject line, "You started something." I sat down and opened the file again, scrolling through every line, every metadata timestamp. The reports weren't the thing they feared. It was the fact that I kept them, and I wasn't the only one. People started coming out of nowhere. A guy named Joel, I remembered him from the audit rotation in 2020. Messaged me from a Proton Mail account. Said he remembered being told verbal only for vendor issues that year. A former IT contractor reached out through Signal. They had us ghost a data deletion request. CFO level. You didn't hear it from me. Then a legal assistant I hadn't seen in years sent me a Dropbox link with old onboarding docs. Language that directly contradicted the PR statement Halvex had put out the week after I was fired. These weren't allies, they were fragments. People who'd seen corners of the lie and finally felt like it was safe, or necessary, to say something. I pulled up a spreadsheet and started building the case like a prosecutor. Name, date, evidence source, cross-reference. I wasn't collecting dirt anymore. I was organizing truth, and truth had weight. By noon, 3 more files from the cold stack had leaked. One showed side-by-side versions of the original Q3 report, and the final approved one. The red flags, cut. The risk levels, lowered. The audit dates, changed. It was textbook manipulation, with a paper trail. This wasn't revenge. I wasn't trying to burn the place down, because I got embarrassed in a ballroom. This was exposure, and it was working. I set up a private archive with read-only links and started pushing them out. Quietly, one contact at a time, people with reach, people with stock. The report was one thing, but the receipts were lethal. The link came from a Proton Mail address I didn't recognize. Subject line just said, "They're voting." No message, just a single stream link. Private server, password protected. I typed it in, heart pounding, hands cold. No cameras, no press. Just a boardroom view from a corner angle. Static mic. Low res, but it was real. The emergency shareholder meeting. I was sitting in sweatpants, unshowered, half-eaten granola bar on my desk, and a mug of coffee I hadn't touched in hours. Then Victor stood up. He adjusted his cuff like time didn't matter, looked around the room, and read from a printed sheet. His voice was calm, sharp, exact. Why was the Q3 2022 compliance audit buried? That was my question. Word for word. The room froze. No shuffle, no throat clear, just air pulling tight around their tailored suits. Warren Huxley, slick, unbothered Warren, blinked like he forgot how. He started to speak, stopped, then stuttered something about legacy systems and reporting confusion. The CFO, Marlene Kress, looked like she'd swallowed battery acid. She didn't say a thing, just sat there, white as paper. Victor didn't push. He let the silence rot. Then he called the motion. Motion to suspend CEO Warren Huxley and CFO Marlene Kress, pending independent review. It was seconded immediately. No debate. Vote was called. Sleight of hands, one after another. Every screen window lit up green. All but 2. Almost unanimous. Warren didn't stand. Marlene stared straight ahead, like the table might open up and swallow her whole. Victor stayed standing. One more motion, he said, to form a temporary internal ethics oversight committee. Pause. Proposed lead, Daniel Reese. I choked. The screen blurred. I didn't move, didn't speak. The only sound in my apartment was the soft clatter of ceramic when my coffee mug slipped out of my hand and hit the floor. I hadn't asked for this. I asked a question. Now I was the answer.